This is a JOR 459 special report.
A big thanks goes out to both Professor Del Barrio and the UH School of Communications for making this special report possible. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Drew Devereaux, and today I have the pleasure of sharing with you the story of a young man I was introduced to way back when he was in kindergarten and I was in first grade. Our families are good friends and always have been, and fast forward 10 years or so and we were in high school, myself in 10th grade and him in 9th grade. And we had the same trigonometry class, so my dad told me to ask him for help. Just because of how brilliantly this young man had progressed, both academically and professionally. Ladies and gentlemen, today I am honored to share with you the story of Akintunde Ahmad.
Our story begins in Oakland, California, a scenic community from its aerial view. However, on the streets, a different story can be found, with the city making the news year after year as one of the country's most violent societies. At an early age, Akintunde recognized this problem and has been determined to change it ever since.
It's just like you're exposed to it all the time, especially if you go to public schools. It's just like, it's like kind of inevitable. You see people fighting, you see, the cop cars, the ambulances, people all over the news, and like people just think that like, since that's what we're exposed to, that's just what it is. But it took me like going off to school and talking to other people and sharing these experiences with them, and they're like so surprised to hear about it.
Ahmad grew up in a house off of 98th Avenue in Golf Links in Oakland, California's Foothill District, known on the streets as the Deep East because of its high rate of gang activity and drive-by shootings.
So I was fortunate enough to live on a quieter kind of street. However, growing up, I still witnessed one of my neighbors get killed, another one of my neighbors get stabbed. I was firsthand me being outside seeing these things. But I don't know, I guess it was something that in our city was very normal, and going off to college and juxtaposing my experiences to what other people have lived, and really realize that it's not necessarily what's normal.
Right.
And a lot of people in our city are desensitized to violence.
This violence has always hit close to home for Akintunde, seeing as how it previously affected his immediate family.
So he got caught up in a federal sting operation, and he ended up having to do 41 months, so basically 4 years in prison. But I don't know, it was a learning experience for him, and by no means is that the end of the road. That's the thing about it. I feel a lot of times there's taboo around people going to prison, and they think, they're in jail, life's over for them. That's never the case. I mean, he's out now, he's back on his feet, he's doing well. But it just kind of helped me stay focused and learning right from wrong in terms of not having to live through it myself, but having something close to me do that, and knowing that wasn't the path I wanted to take.
And learn he did, both in and out of the classroom, given that Tunde's diligence to his schoolwork, along with a commitment to staying out of trouble, soon earned him acceptance to countless world-renowned universities, including 3 of the Ivy Leagues, an impeccable academic feat that was quickly relayed by local media outlets.
Describes himself as an ordinary street dude, right, living in Oakland, but this 17-year-old is quite extraordinary.
Tunde Ahmad has been accepted to just about every single Ivy League school there is. It is, and he says with great pride, he is a product of Oakland Public Schools.
This guy's a winner. ABC 7 News education reporter Leanne Melendez has his story.
He has been a stellar student at Oakland Tech. Today, he's a rock star among his friends. That's because Akintunde Ahmad has been offered a spot at some of the top universities.
So it's Yale, Brown, Columbia.
The acceptance list is too long to include in this broadcast. It was inside the classroom that Tunde began the path to success.
My whole life, people have been telling me to stay on this path and everything will fall. The cards will fall the way you want them to, so.
He tells us all too often he has been judged and overlooked by his appearance. Few believe him when he tells them his GPA, a 5.0, and scored 2,100 on the SAT. For those who doubt him, Tunde keeps a picture of his grades and his SAT scores stored on his smartphone. Yep, I'm now a believer. As an Oakland teen, he's witnessed several shootings and missed being a victim himself. One night, his brother invited him to a party, but Tunde skipped it because he had to write an essay.
So I had to finish that, and he asked me that around 6. And at 9, I got a call saying he had got shot and like 4 others.
Both his parents work in Oakland. His mother is the principal at Piedmont Avenue Elementary. Tunde's mother says the one thing she wants everyone to know about her son is how humble he is.
Son, when are you getting your scores? When are you getting your scores? He's like, oh, I got it back. I'm like, well, how did you do? It's like, well, now I have a 2100. I'm like, wow. I'm like, well, when were you going to tell me?
Not only is he academically smart, he plays 3 instruments and is an outstanding baseball player.
Every school that he applied to was already Division I, so he wasn't, taking a step down as far as baseball was concerned.
Yale is talking to him about joining the baseball team. He will either pick Yale or Brown, pre-med or pre-law. Let's just say this very focused teen is for the first time in his life undecided. In Oakland, Leanne Melendez, ABC 7 News.
During Tunde's rise to success, he's always kept in the back of his mind those who helped and supported him all along the way, both academically and financially.
Like, all of it just happened so fast, it's hard to even recollect it all, because I was just really busy going, traveling different places, going to different shows and things. But I'm really fortunate for everybody who donated or even just played a more supportive role and took me in to mentor me and expose me to higher education and get me accustomed to that field. But it was just crazy how quick the turnaround was and how fast my home community also just was so quick to give things and help support me my first year and continue to support me financially and just emotionally, mentally, just the mentorship.
Yeah, so honestly, I couldn't even tell you the first time we met. It was before kindergarten, probably on the playground or something. I think my first really the first time I really remember, we were in Miss McIntosh's first grade class, and we were working on a little worksheet or something, and I just remember it was a weird interaction as even just as a first grader, but I just kind of remember I at that point I knew he was gonna be one of my best friends, just because I just kind of knew, and I had that feeling at that point, so.
I had that feeling too. I remember my best friend in first grade. We were in Splendorio's class. Yeah. And I still talk to that. He lives in Miami, but I still talk to that kid today. Some of those things are just like that, I feel like.
Yeah, it's weird, and it's funny how you you just remember I could even tell you what we were wearing in that room at that time. You
right.
know? I had some some weak tennis shoes on or something, and he had some Jordans, and it was a weird thing, but I still think about that that day.
He was a great student. He was one of 5 male students that I had in my class. No, I think there were 6 that year. So they all had to kind of carry a lot of weight in terms of what they were representing. Tunde was invested, interested, and generous, I think, with what he was. We do a lot of discussion, and so he was forthcoming and
Shortly after hearing of all his acceptances, Akintunde was invited on the Ellen DeGeneres Show to announce his college decision.
Despite living in the inner city, our next guest has made his own path to success, earning a 5.0 GPA and scoring a 2100 on his SATs. He has been accepted into many Ivy League schools and proves that with hard work and support from family, anything is possible. From Oakland, California, please welcome 18-year-old Tunde Ahmad. If you're always studying like that, that's amazing. First of all, congratulations on getting into all these schools that you applied to. Okay, I didn't even know you could get a 5.0 grade point average. I had no idea. And 2,100 on. And so have you always been a good student?
Yeah, I guess it started when I was young, so just got on like a good path. Always, when I got home from school after practice and sports, everything, just went right to homework and just stayed on top of it. And I don't know, it's a good pattern and made it a lot easier as I got older. So.
Yeah, but I mean, you live in a neighborhood where, I think your brother got shot?
Yeah, so I was supposed to go to my god sister's party with my brother, but I had to write an essay that day, so yeah.
That's amazing. He's okay though, right?
Yeah.
Yes, he's okay. And you applied to, there's only 2 colleges I think that you didn't get into, which I was shocked. You didn't get into Harvard and Stanford. But you got into Yale, you got into Brown, you got into Columbia.
Northwestern.
That's amazing. That's incredible. So what's a typical? Well, I think and your parents are in the audience. You have to be so proud of him. What an amazing young man he is, right? Now you can say he's the smartest one of the children.
Yes, we can say that.
Yeah. But do they study as well? Do they work as hard at their grades?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Okay, so. And you're going to announce today. They don't even know where you chose to go to college, but you're going to tell us all right now where you're choosing to go to college.
Yeah. So I've been a Bulldog at Oakland Tech for the past 4 years. So I'm going to continue to be a Bulldog, and I'm headed to Yale University next year.
Tuition is expensive, and after all the loans, you still personally owe $12,000.
Yeah.
And Shutterfly has helped us all season long give back to our guests, and they want to help you and give you a check for $15,000. We'll be right back. Congratulations.
Tunde was soon transformed into a public, universally recognized figure almost overnight following his appearance on Ellen and his announcement of where he would be attending college, seeing as he soon appeared on MSNBC and many other national news outlets, which gave him something of a celebrity persona in his community.
Well, I think that's probably a really difficult thing to handle. On the one hand, he has to be really excited, but he's also being kind of put right in the spotlight of things, and I don't know that he asked for that. I don't know. I can't critique him. I think he handled it well, but it was noticeable.
Okay.
There was that went along with him once things became much more public and celebrated in that way. It wasn't just us that knew him that were celebrating him. There was this other kind of celebrity aspect to him as well.
All right. As a true professional, he carried himself very humbly through it all. Because, he had all the reason to just, get the biggest head. He was on top of the world at that point. He still is, but he stayed true, and that was the coolest part, I think. And we all just embraced it as his friends and stuff, because it was kind of like, this is his time right now. He's shining right now, And one day, it'll be one of our times, or something big will happen for one of us, and we'll be there for each other at that point. And it was sick. It was so much fun, because seniors in high school, just trying to enjoy it, and then all of a sudden, one of your friends is famous and has all these opportunities and stuff, and then on top of that, we would just be going to Philly cheesesteak on Lakeshore, and he'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to do an interview real quick." And we'd be sitting there eating, and there'd be some people interviewing him, and it was surreal, really. And then on top of all of that, it was just so obviously, whenever a brother or a friend or anybody does something big and things start working out for him, in a positive direction, you're going to feel happy for them, right? And you're always trying to do whatever you can to support those people in your life. But you can only do so much. And so when when the tables start turning and things start working out for them on a different level, it's really, like, it's a very happy time. And I've been asked this question a lot, just because being close with him, it's like, well, like, did he change or whatever? I mean, you can't be mad at a caterpillar for becoming a butterfly, right?
Tunde is now in his sophomore year at Yale University and is unfortunately all too familiar with the preconception that many outsiders hold for his city. Nevertheless, by fostering positive reinforcement from the negative stereotypes and labels that are out there, Tunde has seen an increase in his ability to overcome many otherwise stressful academic and professional challenges.
Just definitely, like, a lot of times people kind of just like think of Oakland as a city that doesn't really produce anything more than like athletes and artists and things like that. So like a lot of times when I tell people that, you get like the normal question like, oh, isn't it like dangerous there and things like that. But I don't know. I try and just expose people to like the good that is there, and also I really feel fortunate being here just because it's made me like a much stronger person in terms of like, when you face adversity, you have struggles in life, which everybody faces. I feel like being raised here makes it much easier for me to deal with things, right? So at school, I never feel stressed. I never feel overwhelmed. Like if things happen on campus, they don't bother me much just because it's like, it's good, right? It'll never be what it would be like here. So it's like, I'm proud to be from here.
But these stereotypes and rhetoric have given birth to a pretty troublesome narrative over the years, one which paints inner-city students, specifically those of color, as being more likely to end up in trouble with the law than college-educated. And when a story like Tunde's breaks, those who perpetuate these ideas immediately jump to the conclusion that he must have benefited from affirmative action or some other specialized, minority-oriented program as opposed to genuine academic ability.
But Tunde had a narrative of his own. And among the teachers and admin that I talked to, they saw Tunde for Tunde. And so that the assumptions, I don't think they, Tunde didn't really, as far as I know, my experience, Tunde didn't ride behind any of that. He led with, the narrative. He was well known enough and was personable enough that people got to see him, and he let us see him. So when Tunde shined, we saw it. So I don't think that, for what I saw, those more abstract, real but abstract narratives, general narratives that might be applied to people that people don't know very well, didn't get applied to him.
I mean, yeah, I definitely think a lot of times, especially when you're like in a group environment, and I don't know, like a lot of times I'm the only black person, not even the only black male, like in these environments, I feel like I do have to like take the extra step to prove myself in these like academic settings a lot of times. But usually it's like a very like subconscious thing I think that people have, but like I'm very aware of it just because it's what I've experienced like my whole life. Exactly. And I don't think people do it necessarily purposefully, but like it's still evident and like I'm still able to like recognize it. But I don't hold it against anybody. Like usually after people meet me for a while, they become accustomed to it and like I'm fine. But a lot of times like, upon like initial meets, it's people feel like the teacher like just like in classes and things, maybe sometimes when we're in a section, like you're in a group or something and like they're hesitant to like accept your ideas and what you have to contribute or like just right. Those type of things, it's like you wonder why.
Today, Tunde is in the news for a book he is writing with his brother called Oakland to Ivy, about his epiphany that it wasn't a normality to be brought up in a city with excess violent crime. Additionally, Tunde hopes the novel will shed light on what he learned from his brother and how their lives turned out so differently despite having much the same upbringing.
It's like, I don't know, a lot of times at school, I feel really like disconnected from the city, and I'm looking at everything the school district's doing with like African American male achievement and things like that. When I'm back here, a lot of times like I speak to these classes and things, but I never feel like I'm doing enough. So that's why I started like this Open to Ivy. So it's like a portion of it is like positive image reinforcement. So like just so people can see like black males are like the top institution, you know what I mean? And doing that. And then portions of it are like blogs, just talking about topics and like questions that people ask me to write about. But the overall thing is that me and my brother are actually writing like a joint book. Like it's both of us sharing our perspectives on like the same events and things, and like just showing like, you know, two different ways to view things in life. And just like a progressive story over it. So like that's the larger thing, but everything else is coming out of concrete, you know, visual aesthetic things so that people can know how our progress is going.
Tunde is hopeful that the novel, along with his corresponding community outreach, will go on to benefit neighborhoods like his.
I guess it's just like really just, keeping like my roots here in Oakland, making sure I'm up to date on what everybody else is doing. So like as I develop things, I can like, collaborate with other people and we can like, all build together. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's about building up the city as a whole. Even though my focus is like within like the communities of color, because those are the ones who are, performing the most important. Exactly. But yes, like going to the African American male achievement classes and like Tech and Montero and Piedmont Avenue Elementary School, just speaking to them, because a lot of times they just don't have role models that are like our age that they can like see. And a lot of times it's true. We get through to them easier because we're not in some office like the teachers and things. So just speaking to them.
While Ahmad is yet to specify an exact release date for his novel, he's assured his followers and fan base that it will be available prior to his 2018 graduation from Yale. In Oakland, I'm Drew Devereaux. Thanks for watching.